Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Midnight Madness Chats with Hardman. I've got a great guest on here and a very sentimental one to me. Great fucking legend in the South African music scene. Introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Hey man, my name is Hunter Kennedy, and I would say I guess I'm a lyricist first of all, but I play in two Afrikaans acts called the Volk Voort and Fokofpolisiekar.
I put a little post out on Facebook yesterday and I asked people, if you are a fan of Hunter Kennedy, what would you ask him? And I think about 90% of the questions was, where do you find inspiration?
Oh
Or
wow, yes, I wish I knew the answer to that one because people ask me that all the time as well. like I don't know, don't know if you ever saw a movie called Empire Records, but there's a line in there where the character goes like, "Who knows where ideas come from?" And I like they just appear, kind of thing. I don't know, man. Yeah, I love lyrics. I love reading, writing. I studied art for like a year and a half and dropped out to tour the country and with in a band with Francois even before Fokofpolisiekar. But yeah, I love making shit, and I think writing was just the medium at that young stage that worked for me. And I'm trying to say all of this because I think the inspiration comes to me because I want to make something, and then I don't know how art works. Then you try to make something, and then I don't know. You do a bit of research, ideas pop out from somewhere, stuff people say, and reactions to other people's songs, maybe, or you know what I mean. It comes from everywhere. It comes from around me, life. I mean, I can't imagine an uninspired life.
So I love lyrics, I love poetry, and a very inspirational artist to me said, "Not sure why I'm pissed off, but it's part of my brand." And
Is it Corey Taylor?
no, it's Danny Washnop from Asking. Uh,
Okay.
so that leads me to the question: when you were younger, you were quite pissed off, and now that life has progressed, you've got a little one now. You're quite developed in your career. Do you find yourself sometimes thinking, I'm not pissed off anymore, but sometimes I write lyrics that sort of still follow the theme of being pissed off?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool question and something that I think about. So Fokofpolisiekar, people see it as angry, but I kind of see it as sad, maybe more than anything. Obviously, the aggressive, I mean, aggressive pop punk sound or whatever is to the Afrikaans ear might sound angry. Um, but I guess I was angry, and I feel like for the past 20, I feel like since puberty to now was almost like it was a complete shit show of hormones and trauma and fucking whatever. And I kind of feel like I had to unlearn a lot of shit that I don't want to say pushed upon me, but it's like in the air in the Afrikaans community out here. The Calvinism. Well, it's either religious or it's extremely corporate, and I mean, I didn't really fit into any of those. So I think my anger might have stemmed from what I felt like were injustices in the world and sort of just trying to understand shit. And I think I don't think I'm less angry. I just think I've learned to deal with it or accept it, kind of, and maybe channel it better. Um, and maybe anger is necessary. I think it's necessary to go through an angry stage before you can make a change. It sort of inspires you to do something. But in the for longevity, I don't know. I can't stay angry all the fucking time. You know what I mean? It just sucks to be in that space. Um, and I mean, there's a lot of joy in my life now. Like you said, my daughter, my family, it gives me a sense of purpose, which I think qualms a lot of the existential dread.
Taking back, let's go back to teenage Hunter, maybe younger Hunter. Um, I find a lot of the poetry I write and the lyrics I write come from I recently had an experience which was great. It's sort of a subconscious place where these lyrics come from, and also had a bit of a rough childhood and everything. And we recently released a song, and I wrote these lyrics, but subconsciously. And someone actually sent me a message, and they were like, "So this happened here and here and here," and I kind of blew my mind
Oh wow,
because it was like
they laid
taking
out the timeline for you.
100%. And I don't remember this. I just, this is just
Wow.
so taking back to your childhood, you mentioned some trauma, you mentioned, some hard times and stuff. How did that shape basically what you became as a lyricist and a musician?
Yeah, I mean, that I find it super interesting because I do think art is therapeutic. Sorry, and just to get back on the previous thing, for me it was like if art is therapeutic, then then how does Kerry King stay that angry kind of thing? It's almost like he's not doing it right. You know what I mean? If you're not getting less angry, then obviously your art's not therapeutic. But I wouldn't say that I am an extremely. I've definitely seen and met people that has had a lot of worse shit happen to them than to me. You know what I mean? But obviously, in my little bubble, I mean, I sometimes think that I'm probably still dealing with it. Like having a kid that kind of reminds you of all that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, not just in the art. I mean, I think that stuff sits in your brain. Insecurities. I do think people go through the same shit, maybe just in different degrees.
I can use an example. A junkie well, I'm translating directly now,
Yes, yes, yes,
but
yes. A junkie on a floor mattress or whatever.
it,
Yeah, I
it,
get you. Yeah,
so is does that come from like a real place, or is it like something?
biographical. That is not autobiographical. I mean, to me, that is that specific image. The junkie on the floor mattress is like the heroin junkie of the '90s, which kind of was our forerunners. You know what I mean? The '90s bands and whatever, and just seeing how drugs completely fucked them up, kind of thing. But we learn from them, and that's why in that line, like I am everyone that came before me, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I use autobiographical stuff as inspiration, especially in the earlier ones. For Altijd 7 November is sort of a hard look at my relationship with my mom that's passed away. Um, I mean, there's just so many things. Like you said, like although I don't think mine is as subconscious. I've kind of there's stuff in my songs that are particular things that happen to me.
When you guys started out, obviously, South African market being very, like, I think touch and go, and I think it always has been. You guys took a big risk. You guys kind of had your middle finger in the air from day one. I mean, your band's called, translated directly, "Fuck off police car." When you guys started this project, taking back, like, let's go back to day one, did you ever think, that you will be standing basically on an empire and a revolution, and basically a beacon to the South African music industry?
Oh wow, man. I mean, geez, when we started, I was 21. So I don't know. I I thought we were either gonna it was either gonna work or not. It was like a 50-50 kind of thing. And I think at that age maybe it's easier to take those kind of risks, be poor, fucking shit poor for a few years. It's worth it. It's harder in middle age. Like I wouldn't do that same shit now.
Um,
Okay.
so you guys recently opened for big punk legends like Green Day and Offspring. Tell me about, sharing a stage with such big names, and just the moment, walking onto the stage and thinking, what am I doing? Like, is this amazing or what?
Geez, yeah, man. I mean, it was a roller coaster of emotions. Obviously, very exciting when we heard it the first time. I mean, Green Day and Offspring, it just fit. Like I think it was 94, 95, somewhere around there. Maybe just after Kurt Cobain died, but before I went to high school. Green Day's Dookie and Offspring smash just hit hit me, hit everyone. Um, And before that, I was listening to. Well, I mean, so I'm 12, right? So I was listening to what my parents were listening to: Queen, Creedence Clearwater, that kind of Cat Stevens. I don't know, that kind of shit. And then Guns N' Roses kind of crept in. The last bit of the stadium rock, Guns and Def Lepp, and I don't know, like super, I guess more edgy stuff. Uh, Kirk died, and Nirvana's Unplugged was playing on East Coast radio in Pinetown, and then sort of in a span of a year. But I think '94 was actually quite a big year for alternative music. It's like Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. I don't know, a big, lots of fucking shit in the grunge movement, I guess. But yeah, Green Day and Offspring, shit, it changed my life. I mean, I remember CDs were great. You had something to read and something to listen to. You know what I'm saying? I spent hours and hours dissecting the booklets and reading the lyrics. I had the Smash tape and the Dookie cassette. And I've actually bought those albums probably about 6 times throughout my life up until now on different formats. And you lose them and you borrow them to friends and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It just felt like it just hit. I felt it was a tumultuous time in South African politics. We were at a crossover. 94 was the election where Nelson Mandela became president, and I felt like the punk vibe was a great helped me to frame the context of shit and where I feel I fit in. Um, so yeah, I mean, playing with your heroes. It's a little late. I would have loved to do it about 20 years ago, maybe, but I mean, I'll take it. Um, yes, dude. I mean, it's the biggest show we've ever played. It's Fokofpolisiekar. It felt a little like we were jogging out for the country on the field, kind of thing, in that in that stadium, which I think Franco liked. He's a massive sports fan. And I just think it's a perfect context for Fokofpolisiekar, actually. Fokofpolisiekar doesn't really fit in the Afrikaans platforms. Afrikaans is groot or Skouspel of any of that shit. So I don't know. It was definitely a career highlight, if not fucking if this is not us speaking. I don't really know. It was surreal, man. It was surreal. I was quite. I don't know why, but I was quite like Green Day was super polished. I didn't really expect it. I mean, they're so good. All of those bands are obviously exceptional. Quite a few takeaways. Like I think Offspring was actually the favorite, which is funny because um, I mean Green Day is like one of the top 10 Ticketmaster acts in the world. I think for them. But South Africans just have their own taste, right? And I think Offspring's mix of humor and I don't know, yeah, just that classic fucking punk beat. I don't know. There's something about Offspring that South Africans love, so it's kind of funny. Um, yes, we felt like we fucked it up, but the South African people were kind enough, and I don't know, maybe they were just stoked, or I mean, maybe we just don't really know what the fuck is going on. But yeah, everyone seemed to enjoy it. We made a bit of a we filmed it all, so we'll put out a mini docu or something quite soon, so you'll get all the middle age backstage fucking goodness. The kids were there. I mean, like 3 of us don't drink anymore. It's I mean, it's just a crazy time.
Well, me being a Fokof fan, and I said this when we were at the show, I was actually more excited to see Fokofpolisiekar on such a big stage than actually seeing Green Day or Offspring, because I've seen you
Yeah.
guys live since I can't even remember, but I've seen you guys probably 100 times live, and this was big. I mean, the stage was big. I'm a little bit disappointed in the organizers that they didn't give you the cool pyrotechniques and stuff like that. That pissed me off like a little bit, but
It's to clear that up. I mean, Green Day and Offspring, they travel with their own shit. You know what I mean? It's
uh,
not actually the organizers. It's actually us that we just don't know how to do that shit, or like, expend, because it's not like they pay us more because we're playing a bigger gig. You know what I mean? They just
mhm.
pay us our normal fee, and obviously it's cool for us to be on that stage. But I mean, we don't have pyrotechnics on our rider. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, dude. I mean, thank you for saying that, and it's amazing. I mean, I think we really felt love, which was amazing. We didn't really know. Like, I mean, I was kind of expecting no one to be there really when we were playing. Yeah. So I mean, we were taken aback. Really, I was extremely surprised. Well, in Joburg especially, I mean, it was the first one, so we didn't really know what to expect, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, I definitely felt a sense of unity, and it's interesting because it's hard it's like herding cats to corral the alternative scene in South Africa to get them all into one place. I think it's quite tough, and I think they did a great job of that.
Definitely. And let's talk about a big crowd. You being a lyricist, a poet. You know, when you think one of the most sentimental things to me is as a musician is when I write lyrics and I see people singing those lyrics back to me. It's like a sentimental thing. I kind of get like all shaky and I want to cry. But uh, yeah, so tell me about your lyrics being sung back at you, but by thousands of people.
Insane. I mean, that was quite insane. I saw the videos afterwards. On stage, it's a little different. You're worrying about so much shit. I mean, we're not used to that big a stage, right? So what was quite nice is that the punk band I played with Yibbles before we opened for Kings of Leon, and that stage was like massive. Um, yeah, we were so far apart from each other, we couldn't like talk to each other, you know. But with this, it was quite nice because they're all punk bands. The setup was quite tiny, which was kind of cool. So we at least felt at home on the stage. But except for that, it's fucking chaos. I'm trying not to fuck up, trying to remember everything. Um, I'm trying to, but yeah, Koma obviously. Then we don't play, and then Jesus, just hearing those people sing that shit back, and I mean that song, especially like you were saying, that's about fucking trauma and generational trauma, cycles of domestic violence, and that kind of shit. It gets emotional.
Uh, Talking about lyrics, you recently started being a vocalist, but it wasn't always part of who you were. Um, Tell me about writing lyrics and having a different vocalist sort of create an image of what you wrote. Well, how do you feel about it, and like what's going on in your mind when you think about that?
I think over the years I've become less sentimental about my output. I don't feel like it's a personal attack when someone doesn't like what I did or disagrees with the way that I put it forward. But in my experience, like with the King Yibbles and Fokofpolisiekar, I write for a vocalist that I've known since high school. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm writing for a complete stranger. Um, yeah, I've worked with people. I mean, I don't think your American audience will know, but I mean, I've worked with people like Kurt Darren, who's kind of who people would think is outside of our circle. But what I found in the levels, like on the pop side, people that are into music are kind of similar. You know what I'm saying? If we were in the same class at school, we would have been friends, even if we're into different genres. So yeah, it is tough. I have obviously worked with people that I just don't agree with, with what they're doing. But I'm not gonna. I mean, it's up to them. I don't know. It depends. Writing with my friends is obviously completely different. We share a context. They know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I actually don't really like writing for people that I don't know.
That makes a
If
lot of
that
sense.
answers your question. Yeah, yeah. I don't. It's hard. I'm not that kind of songwriter that writes songs and then sends it to people to, and almost like a product. Like, do you want to buy my song? I know for some people it works like that. It's just it doesn't work like that for me.
I can imagine being a very creative soul that it must be. I think that would be like selling your soul in a sense because you've got a very strong attachment to what you do, and you put your own sort of label on it. So that's probably why you feel that you don't want to sell your lyrics to other people.
Yeah, I just hate the commodification of music. I am into art as a way of life and therapy, and and to me, making something that is going to sell well. That's not That's not my goal. If I work with an artist, I want to write something. I want to help them write something that will make them understand themselves better.
Awesome. So I've got a fan question here. I'm going to read it. What was it like recording the first Fokof albums at B Sharp Studios with
Wow.
JP? Share special moments, legendary producer, studio engineer.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, fucking JP. What a ledge. Uh, it was, it was like, I don't know. It was like a new frontier. Coming from Belleville, we hadn't been in Johannesburg a lot in our lives, and JP had a little studio there in Boksburg, and we wanted to go there because he recorded a punk band. Ignorance is Typical. I don't know if you remember them, but they nailed the drum sound, and like you know that skate punk had that specific drum sound. And with I mean, myself and Franco, before Fokofpolisiekar, we played in a pop punk band, New World Inside, and so we had recorded at different places, and we just no one was nailing. And I mean, it might be the drummers, right, and not just the drum sound, but no one was nailing that shit. Um, and so JP, we wanted to go to JP, and so we um, climbed climbed in a finance venture and drove to Boksburg, and just driving into the unknown essentially. And we were staying at Lord Zoltan, who was the keyboardist for Fuzzy Gish at that stage. We were living in a tent in his parents' backyard because JP hadn't built the accommodation at his studio yet. So but yeah, I mean, we were young, living in tents, recording punk rock. I mean, it's fucking incredible. But still, I mean, we were funding it ourselves. We actually we got some money because we got hired as the backing band for a German insurance ad, where this like we were the backing band for this 14-year-old girl character in the story that's whose dreams come true or whatever. So we took that money, and then we had enough to go and record the EP. I'm just trying to sketch, like, I mean, we were down and out. I mean, I guess I think I was working in a skate shop. Snake and Johnny were maybe still studying, living with their parents, kind of thing. It's so long ago. I think myself can't even remember where I was staying at that stage. But anyway, so I mean, we just fucked off into into the unknown, and but we had been practicing every day for about a year, about 5 songs. So when we got there, and we had recorded ourselves like on an old Fisher Price tape deck. So the only way that we were listening our own songs back to us was, over this like tape recorded thing through. Then cars still had tape players in them. We didn't know what we were going to sound like. We didn't really have any recording experience, but JP made us feel so. I mean, JP is just awesome. He disarms you, and there's no bullshit. There's no. I mean, I couldn't. I don't think there could have been anyone better than JP to record us. He helped us out a lot, taught us a lot about songwriting. I think Johnny picked up a lot about recording, and I don't even know what you call it, the DAWs or whatever, the digital audio workstations. I think at that stage we were recording on tape, or maybe it had just gone over to digital or something. But yeah, I mean, we didn't really know what we were into. I remember one thing when Fronty started singing, we were like, "This is not going to work," because he was so excited. And I mean, we were just pissed drunk and fucking stoned the whole time. But yeah, when the first that night, because Johnny had just finished recording his guitars, and it was sounding sick. Johnny's kind of the real musician in the band, and he had just done the solo on Yamalopi Platteland, and myself and Fronny were dancing outside like we've won kind of thing. And then he was so excited when he went in that he just duffed it completely, like didn't sing in key, and he just couldn't get there. And so we went home that evening thinking, fuck, what are we gonna do now? And I think it was quite a low point. Like, what the fuck now? And but yeah, I mean, the next day he pulled it through. It was sounding great. JP kept everyone calm. So I mean, it was epic. It's definitely a loss for the alternative industry. The death of JP.
I think also it basically shaped your future. I mean, that those moments were, I mean, Hemel op the Platteland, you know, it's if you think Fokof, I think that's one of the big ones.
Yeah, it was the well, it's like one of those sound bites, but we Yamalopi Platteland was the first Afrikaans song to be playlisted on 5FM ever. And I don't know if there were many after that, to be honest. Yeah, it was, yeah, fuck, dude. Yeah, crazy. If I think about that shit. Like I said, I'm glad I did it when I was young. I don't know if my body would be able to handle it now. But that's almost like the rock autobiography days, if you know what I mean. We were just fucking shit poor, drinking the whole time, recording music that we thought was cool, and fucking touring. I mean, sorry, I'm just carrying on from this guy's question, but I love the fact that we toured, got in the van and toured. You know, the younger people now, and I don't blame them. The game has changed, but they seem reluctant to just get in the car and go play some gigs in small towns and shit. You know.
I think it's also about so I've been playing high risk shows, but okay, I play in a metal band. So you know,
Yeah, sure, yeah, it's high risk all the way.
high risk all the way. So I've been targeting these like smaller venues and stuff like that.
Amazing, amazing.
But
It's interesting. Free State, for some reason, love metal.
they do, but they don't come out to shows. I mean, I stay in for Eniging. Okay, you guys play up the street all
V-Town,
the
yeah,
time.
man. Yeah.
But but somehow people are not as accepting. Not actually, they love the music. It's not that they don't like the music, but they don't go to shows. So it's a bit of a challenge that I think younger bands sit with.
I
Is
hear you.
like people are
Even
very reluctant.
Yeah, even just being in a band is tough. Like, I've kids say stuff like it's expensive, and obviously it is. You know, I mean, it feels like the music industry is set up for one guy in his room on the laptop doing everything himself: the marketing, the producing, the writing, the performing, and then the label will take 80% of what you do. So, I mean, it's ridiculous.
The label, what's that? I'm joking.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, exactly. No, I hear you. I just mean it's the middleman is getting all the glory.
no,
It's
no,
like
yeah,
you know.
no. The joke I was making is I think also labels are sort of a dying breed of sorts at current times.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
I guess in the Africa, because in the Afrikaans thing, there's like these few labels, and the
mm,
kids, Afrikaans is so small. Like we're a niche market inside of a niche market inside of this country at the southern tip of Africa. So it's actually ridiculous, and the way that we went about things is not the smartest way. But we knew that starting out. We were calling ourselves Fokofpolisiekar was fucking commercial suicide, according to everyone that we spoke to. So we knew we were shooting ourselves in the foot before running a 100-meter race. But that's just how we wanted to do it. And my advice would still be just fucking stick to your guns. Don't I don't know. Don't chase. I don't know. A lot of younger artists, it feels short-sighted to me, and this is something that I also had to learn the hard way. There's no once you reach, there's no goalpost to reach where everything is going to be fine. Every goalpost you reach makes fucking 10 more down the line.
mm.
So there is no end. So I actually think the best strategy for longevity is to do the stuff that you like and do it well, and gain a slow momentum would be my thought.
And work hard because I mean the early days of
No,
Fokof,
of course.
watching all your documentaries and stuff. I know you guys were printing flyers and you were running around. You were basically old school spamming everyone and like, hey, this is my band. Like, come
Yeah,
watch our shows. And that's what you need to
dude,
do.
analog spamming. I actually think maybe going back to traditional media might be a better marketing strategy, because social media just feels so like noisy. I don't know how it's hard. And I mean, we were sure Fokofpolisiekar started before MK, but MK was a music channel here in South Africa on our, what would you call that? It's almost like our cable or whatever, and I think that helped a lot for visibility. But yeah, with Fokofpolisiekar, we did work hard, but it didn't feel like work because I mean, we were still like, uh, I mean, my dad is not a Christian, and he's, he wasn't really worried about the name or anything like that. His big problem was that I want to be a fucking musician for a career. Well, and Francis' dad was a Germany, so I mean, we just went against any common sense, I guess. That was fun for us. Like you were saying, it felt like we were giving middle fingers to everyone around us in our little bubble, our gang, and hanging out and working at the same time. I mean, it was cool.
So, you recently, I met you in a hotel in Pretoria, and you were telling me about your sentimental value to a certain Ibanez Les Paul. It's the lawsuit edition. Can you tell me the
Yeah.
story behind that?
Yeah, sure, man. Well, I mean, it's not much of a story, but to me, I I wonder how deeply to contextualize this. But okay, so anyway, my mom passed away, and I moved back to my dad in Cape Town, or the northern suburbs of Cape Town, behind the Boerebor's curtain. And I was like this Slayer, anarchy symbols, Marilyn Manson, fucking just like the classic Molgoth kind of kid. Now moving into this very sort of academic Christian vibe. I don't know. It was weird. But then you find other people who know who Trent Reznor is, and you kind of gravitate towards that group. And this, but all of us kind of lived close together. And so we could walk to each other's houses, which was new to me because in Natal it wasn't like that. Everyone lived fucking kilometers away. Um, and we would in the afternoons just hang out at different people's houses. And then, I really wanted to start playing guitar, but my dad was like, "No, you always just fucking fads. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna buy you a guitar." Blah blah blah. So and that maybe that is what was like. I will play guitar. I don't know. So maybe he helped me. Uh, but yeah, my friend's dad, or my he had this fucking amazing Ibanez Les Paul that I just thought was the coolest shit. It looked like Slash's guitar. I mean, I didn't even know if I was aware of brands at that stage or whatever. But it just, now okay. And he taught me some songs on there. It was the first guitar I played on. The first guitar I stepped on a distortion pedal. I think we were playing Deftones as My Own Summer, maybe, and dropped D, and it was just like, fuck me, this is the shit. Uh, so yeah, it's just a sentimental thing. And then for my 40th birthday, Fokofpolisiekar found one and bought one for me from the guy from Foot and Dance, actually, Neil. I don't know if you remember Foot and Dance. We were practicing at his house, and it stood there in the corner, and I was like, wow, look at this. This is so amazing. And then they bought one for me. And to me, that's fucking awesome. I'm not a big tech guy. Um, so yeah, it's a sentimental thing to me, and that works for me. I love playing it because it just reminds me of that initial spark of fucking My Own Summer and wanting to be in that feeling.
I think also they're very well built guitars. I think the lawsuit kind of tried to copy Gibson, and that's why there was a lawsuit. So I think
Yeah.
the quality of those guitars were also phenomenal.
Well, it's a 78, right? So what's that? That's like 47 years old. It's older than me, that guitar. And yeah, it's still going. Same original pickups, original machine aids. Yeah. I mean, I love it. I need to take it. There's a guy, Foster. I need to fix it up a little. It just needs to be set up again a little. I want to check out because I mean, I love those old humbuckers. Do you know? Will they perish?
I don't know. I actually,
Okay,
I,
not
I,
yet.
I
Maybe
I've
the rust makes it cooler.
maybe the rust makes it cooler. I did
Yeah.
this guitar right here. It's a Gibson Les Paul. Um, I but I do stupid things like when I perform. So I jumped into the crowd. I play wireless, and I jumped into the crowd, and I was like stuffing around with the guys, and I had to sing a part. So I ran back to the stage, but I wasn't going to make it in time. So I sort of jumped, and then I stepped on some guys like Branava and Glas, and I moved down backwards. So I hit the head of the guitar onto the floor,
Oh my God. Yes.
and then the pickups just stopped working right after
Oh
that.
shit.
So
Well, that's
I
probably
don't
just the wire.
know that there was stuffed. The coils burnt out like stuffed.
Oh my God. Oh, crazy.
So I replaced them with the EMG actives, which I'm quite happy with.
Oh yes.
But yeah, it's
Nice.
so I don't know if it perishes, but yeah, don't do that.
No, no,
uh,
I've lost so many guitars. That's why I'm also in general I'm not sentimental about excuse me instruments just because we've lost so many. It either gets stolen. We were in a car accident and the whole center trailer just burst open and our gear was just lying across the road. You know, these things happen. So I've kind of learned not to get too attached to instruments. But maybe now that I'm older, I can take a bit better care of this one. I hope so.
last few things. Tell me, Volk Voort, new project that you guys are busy with. You said it's basically like a little tour you guys are doing. Tell me about that and what's next for Hunter Kennedy.
Oh man, yeah, it's I write. You were mentioning that I do stuff on my own where I sing and whatever, and that was I just wrote these English songs, and I had nothing to do with them really. And I think they are too weird to give to other people to sing. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so I kind of do the solo shit on the side, but I forget that I do it. And so Frank Freeman, who's a great guitarist, vocalist, session guitarist, plays for a lot of people, tours his ass off. He asked me if I wanted to join him with his project Folk, which I think is quite cool. It's like I don't know if you know James Phillips's Van Alves Niemand, but it's kind of like this tongue-in-cheek 80s. He's Van Alves Niemand sang Snore City. I don't know if you know Snore City. Um, but yeah, Folk is like this tongue-in-cheek. I wonder what you call that stuff. Pop rock maybe. But it's nice. It's like this cool garagey tongue-in-cheek Afrikaans shit. And he just asked me if I wanted to tour with him, and I was like, yeah, man, let's do it. I haven't been to Pretoria, but this is just me and Fred and a stomp box, and we'll be playing some songs that I wrote, some of the English stuff. But yeah, I love with Fokofpolisiekar, we just named our tour stuff. You know, we had the Full Vryf tour, like, and which is what's the word? A reference to the Afrikaans movement in the late 80s. And so it was just fun for us to fuck around with because his band is called Folk, and so we just named the thing Volk Voort, and we printed flyers actually. Went old school, Fokof lager, you know, climbed in there, gave us a few free beers, and like if you, it's like an '80s house party. If you bring the flyer, you can get a free beer, kind of thing. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be small and intimate, but I kind of like that. Uh, uh, I think out of having played the stadium now, not that I'm used to it or anything, and maybe it gets better the more you do it, but I think I still prefer the smaller, intimate vibe. You know.
Well, are you playing at literally one of my favorite venues, Subar Bar? It's a little bit far from me, but it's my favorite venue to play.
Oh,
It's
cool.
also,
I've
it's
never
also
played there.
it's
Where you broke your guitar?
it's also where I broke my.
Oh my god! Fuck. Okay, cool.
The owner is really good and supportive to local music. It's also the one venue that has paid us the most. You know, being
Amazing.
a sort of a, I don't know what we are. We don't really define. We're not defined by genre. We metal, I guess. Um,
Sure.
yeah, but thank you so much for coming on. That's the last question. Vocals. I've been meaning to ask you. Why did it take you so long to explore vocals? Because I think you've got actually a really good voice, and you're a good vocalist. You are, honestly. I think the first song that I know of that you really like explored the vocals, was with Francois van Coke. The I think it was the second album where he did a track.
Darcy Boys.
Darcy
Or what
Boys.
are
Yeah,
Darcy
that's
Boys?
yes. So that was the first track I heard that you really like went for it. So tell me about that, and why did you take so long to vocal?
Yeah, I don't know. In our first band, when myself and Franny's first band, New Orleans Side, before Fokofpolisiekar, both of us were singing, and there was actually a third guy that was also singing. So three of us sort of took, if there's 12 songs, each of us would lead vocal four of them, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I definitely started out with the mic and the guitar, kind of, you know, I mean, I've never been the kind of guy to want the spotlight on me, but it was definitely part and parcel. And I think when we put Fokofpolisiekar together, initially it was just gonna be myself, Francois, Wynand, and it was actually just gonna be the three of us. I don't know. For some reason, we thought Wynand would be easily able to learn how to play drums, but that didn't pan out. So we got a drummer. And Francois was gonna play bass and sing, and I was gonna play guitar and sing. But then we started band practicing at Johnny's house, and I mean, he was just a great guitarist. So we were like, you have to climb in here. And so Francois sort of became the vocalist, if you know what I mean. There's no instrument to be played. He was just going to sing. And I don't know. I kind of just didn't think about it. I guess I like I said, I don't really have the need to be there front, and it actually terrifies me. Like doing these small shows, throughout the shows, my legs are shaking. I'm trying not to have a panic attack. So it feels like I'm telling, maybe that's the answer. I'm fucking shit scared. That's maybe why I haven't done it up until now. Yeah, but so, I mean, I'm taking it easy. You know what I mean? I'm just putting out a couple of songs, getting myself used to the vibe. I don't have plans to hit number one on the billboards or fucking or whatever. Um, I just take it as it comes. Thank you for saying those kind things. I don't think I'm a great, what would the word be, singer, but maybe like singer songwriter, Bob Dylan. Got like on that Dorsey Boys, it's like that Bloodhound Gang kind of shit. You know what I mean? The monotone, speak, rapping, spoken shit. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun working around the challenges of my voice.
Awesome, but thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. It was an absolute pleasure having you. It's like I said before, it's like a dream come true. So
No worries, man.
you
Oh, but
must.
dude, thank you.
Until next time, I've been Hardman.